So I started doing the video for section 2.4, had a technology fail because I was trying to use my iPad to show something. I think I've got that ironed out, but this writing that's on here is because I started already. The entire section 2.4 is on circles, and very specifically, the entire section really boils down to these three lines. Specifically, if I have an equation written in the form x minus some number squared plus the quantity y minus some number squared equals to some other number squared, then that equation is considered in a standard form for an equation of a circle, and the number after the minus sign in the x parentheses is the x coordinate of the center of the circle. The number after the minus sign in the y parentheses is the y coordinate of the center of the circle, and the number that's being squared is the radius. So a generic circle has a center, which is obviously in the middle of the circle, and a radius, which is essentially the distance from the center to the edge. So this I just drew in as an example of a radius. And a radius is going to get the variable r. The center is going to get the variable hk. I'm not very good at drawing circles. I can make up equations all day, so I just made up an equation in standard form for a circle. I wrote x minus 6 squared, which is x minus some number squared, specifically plus y minus 2 squared, that's plus y minus some number squared, equals 3 squared. And I claim that this equation, when I go to graph it, it's going to graph to be a circle, and the center of the circle is going to be at the point 6,2, and the distance from the center to the edges of the circle are going to be 3. So I opened up a website called Desmos, which is a wonderful website. I use it to make some of the graphs for our class. You'll see my technology issues here. So on Desmos, it gives me this lovely template. It gives the standard form of a circle that says x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared, and it allows me to plug numbers in for h. So let me move up here and change the h to 6. It allows me to plug a number in for k. I'm going to move up here and plug a number in for k. Now it's thinking x minus 6 squared plus y minus 2 squared, and I think I made up 3 for the radius. And type in 3, and look how it did. It graphed this for me. And very specifically, if I look at this, I don't know if my pencil's going to work on this. Maybe it doesn't work here. Oh well. Anyways, the center's going to be the point 6,2. So if I go right 6 and up 2, that right there is the point 6,2. That's dead center. You can't see. If I was actually showing this better, if I look at the graph that Desmos gave to me, it doesn't mark the axes up so well, but this is okay. If I find the point 6,2, which means find 6 on the x-axis and go up 2, I'll get the point 6,2. This point 6,2, that's dead smack center of the circle, and I knew that because the h is the x coordinate of the center, which is 6. That means go right 6. The k, 2, is the y coordinate of the center. I also know the radius is 3, which means from the center, if I march down 3 units, I'll get to a point on the graph. If I go from the center, I go right 3 units, I'll get to a point on this graph. If I go from the center and go up 3 units, I'll get to a point on this graph. No matter which direction I move from the center, if I go up, down, left, or right, or diagonally, if I go 3 units, I'll wind up with a point on this graph. So this is a perfectly drawn circle. You'll not see another circle drawn so well during this video because I can barely draw something that represents a circle. So if you tell me what the center of a circle is and you tell me what the equation is, I can do 2 things. I can graph it. I'm going to plot the center and then do some business so that I can get a circle that has the appropriate radius, and I could find the equation of the circle. So let me now do some lecturing and get this camera back to something that's normal. So as long as I have this understanding that if an equation is written as x minus some number squared plus y minus some number squared equals another number squared, that is the standard form of an equation for a circle. The number after the x is the x coordinate of the center of the circle. The number after the minus sign in the y parentheses is the y coordinate of the circle. And the number that's being squared is the radius. So now we go downhill. The first 8 problems just want me to create an equation of the circle given a radius and the center, and then graph it. It's the and graph it part that's not so good for me, but I'll do my best. So in problem 2, I'm going to use this standard form of the equation of a circle, x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared, and I'm going to create an equation of a circle. That's part of what I needed to do for this problem. I need to create my equation of a circle and then do a graph. It's so easy to create my equation for my circle because I give you the information in this problem. I tell you that h is 5. I tell you that k is negative 4. And I tell you that r is positive 4. So the standard form of the equation of the circle, I'll just call it the standard equation rather than saying standard form, for this circle is going to be x minus 5 squared plus y minus negative 4 squared. I have a double negative here, so I'm going to make an extra parentheses, equals to r squared. That is the equation of this circle. The number after the minus sign in the x parentheses is the x coordinate of the center, which is 5. The number after the minus sign in the y parentheses is the y coordinate of the center, which is negative 4. The number to the right of the equal sign that's being squared is the radius. Now, how do I graph this? That's the part where it's going to not be good. To start off, I'm going to plot the point, that's the center, 5 and negative 4. The number after the minus sign in each parentheses is respectively the x and the y coordinate of the center. So let me try to figure out where 5 is here. Looks like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I had a hard time getting Desmos to make numbers on my x-axis. 5 is kind of an unfortunate number, but I'm going to deal with it. And then negative 4. These look like they go down by 2. So this is negative 2, negative 4, negative 6, negative 8. So the numbers are incrementing by 2. So I'm going to plot 5, negative 4. There's my center. That's the only part I can do reasonably accurately. Now, to draw a circle that has a radius 4, because the radius is 4 here, I'm going to now go up from the center 4, down from the center 4, right from the center 4, and left from the center 4. And each time I do that, I'm going to make a dot. And then ultimately, I'm going to try to draw something that looks like a circle through those dots. So from the center, negative 5, 4, I go up 4. That's 2, 4. There's my first dot. And then I'm going to go down 4. Here's 2, 4. That's directly down. Each line is 2 units, so that's 4 units. Now I'm going to go right. That's going to be 2, 4. And then I'm going to go left. This is going to be 2, 4. And then the best I can, which is not so good, I'm going to attempt to draw a circle. For me, that's an awesome circle. It might be the best one I do all day, but this is what I'm looking for. So I created the standard form of the equation of the circle by just using the equation x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared, putting the h, the k, and the r into the formula. I'm not simplifying it all because when I simplify it, it kind of messes students up, so I'm just going to leave it unsimplified. That's kind of better. I could have said this is x minus 5 squared plus y plus 4 squared equals the 16. When I used to simplify like that, it just destroyed students. They could never figure out the centers and the radius, so I'm not going to do that. We're just going to keep it all unsimplified. So I created the equation, and then I did the graph. I could do the graph without the equation because I know what the center and the radius is. Okay, well, let's try to do the same for number 4. Specifically, let me try to find the equation in standard form for the circle that has a radius of 5 that has a center of negative 6, 3. So easy to do. I'm just going to use the equation x minus h squared using h equal to negative 6 plus y minus k squared using k equal to 3 equals to r squared using r equals to 5. So the standard equation, or the standard form of the equation, or I might just say the equation for this circle, I think I'm just going to start saying the equation of the circle is going to be x minus negative 6 squared. Since I have a double negative there, I picked up a parentheses, plus y minus 3 squared equals to 5 squared. It wouldn't be wrong to rewrite this as x plus 6 squared plus y minus 3 squared equals to 25, but that might mess you up because then all of a sudden you can't see the center and you can't see the radius. In this problem, when it's written like this, even if I didn't know the center ahead of time, the number after the minus sign in the x parentheses is the x coordinate of the center. The number after the minus sign in the y parentheses is the y coordinate of the center. And the radius is the number being squared, which is 5. How do I plot this? Well, first I plot the center, which is the point negative 6, 3. So on my x-axis, I'm going to go over to negative 6, and then up to 3. And that's about here. There's my center of negative 6, comma 3. And now I'm going to need to go up 5, down 5, right 5, and left 5, so that I can anchor my boundary of my circle so that I can get it reasonably accurate. So how do I go over 5? Well, from negative 6 to negative 1 is over 5, or I'd go 2, 4, and then that gives me 5 to the right. To the left, I go 2, 4, 5 to the right. Up, there's 1, 3, 5 up. Down to the little line, there's 1. A whole jump is 3. A whole jump is 2. So there, I believe, are points that are 5 in each direction from the center. And then again, my graphs are going to get worse and worse. But that's circle-ish, and again, I don't expect better than that. If you do worse than that, I can totally live with it. But this would be considered a graph of the circle. All I would needed to do for this problem is find the equation in standard unsimplified form, simplified if you want, but it might get confusing, and then sketch a graph. I have no idea why I took the time to make fraction radius. Let's do 5 together. We won't do 6. And this graph is ridiculous because going up and down, left and right at 1/2, that's not going anywhere. In fact, I might not be able to graph it on this so well. Maybe I'll make up I don't even know what I'm going to do. But let me create the equation of the circle first. I'm supposed to create an equation for this circle using the x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. And I tell you that h is negative 3, that k is negative 2, that r is 1/2. So the equation of this circle, I'm just going to start calling it equation, that's as good as any name I believe, is going to be x minus negative 3 squared. That double negative, you need it with the parentheses. You can make that x plus 3 squared, but I think it'll mess you up. Plus y minus negative 2 squared. You can make that y plus 2 squared, but I believe that will mess you up. Equals to 1/2 squared. You could actually make that to 1/4. Now, that's easy. Finding the equation is easy. What do I need to do? I need to plot the center. The center is negative 3, negative 2. And this is just dumb. I need to go up, down, left, and right 1/2 and draw my circle. And that's just silly. So let me figure this out. There's -2, there's -4, +2, 0, -2. So the center's about there. There's my point, -3, -2. And 1/2, boy, it's really small. I'm just going to really fudge 1/2. So to get from this dot to the line is 1, so I just need half of that distance. To left and right, I need half of the distance. And between this dot and that line is 2, so I need kind of just a little bit up. I'm going to call this. It's probably not even that great, but the best I'm going to do right now. That's kind of going up, down, left, and right, 1/2 and drawing a circle. Have no idea why I decided to put a 1/2 in there. I should have changed that, but it is what it is. Never would put that on a test. So let me do same instructions. Let me find the equation of the circle in number 8 using the formula x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. I'm going to let h be 0. I'm going to let k be 3. And I'm going to let r be 8. So I can write x minus 0 squared plus y minus 3 squared equals 8 squared. This might be the only time that I simplify. If one of the coordinates of the center is 0, I might not write the minus 0. It might write it like that, because x minus 0 squared is the same as just plain old ordinary x squared. So both of these are acceptable equations for the circle. This comes up a little bit later, so it's nice to know if you just have a variable squared without a parentheses, then that variable's part of the center is going to be 0. How do I graph this? I'm going to plot the center, which is 0, 3. And then I'm going to use the radius. I'm going to go up 8, down 8, left 8, and right 8, because the center, the radius is 8. So 0, 3, this is 0, 3 is about there. It's on the y-axis. And now I need to try to march out 8 in each direction. So to the right, if I want to go 8, each vertical line is 2. So there's 2, 4, 6, 8. That's right 8. And then left 8, 2, 4, 6, 8, left 8. And then up 8, there's 2, 4, 6, up 8, down 8, 2, 4, 6, 8, down 8. The bigger the circle is, the worse my graphs get. Start getting more like squares. But I'm going to call that a circle, even though it's hardly a circle. But I kind of did the best I can do. If I really wanted to graph something, I'm going to just pull out my technology and use my technology to graph. If you're using graph paper and the grids aren't squares, then it really distorts your graph. So that's why I pulled Desmos up, because I could get a square box. I couldn't on the other software that I use for graphing. So if you're just freehanding these, which I expect you to do, I don't care that your graph isn't a thing of beauty. So that's the beginning. Now the hard part, and maybe I should put that in a part 2, because I couldn't do it in 12 minutes. So let's make a part 2 here in a second.